The last topic of cadential deviations is abandoned cadences. Yeah. So before landing in abandoned cadences, I would like to recap everything, yes, that we've done, part of the things that we've done so far, yeah, theoretically, yeah, so we can make sure that we understand something, yeah. Okay, so Laura was here since Deceptive Cadences, right? Good. And well, Anna, so everything, Iris too. Okay, so Iris. Yeah? First cadential deviation. Deceptive cadences. Yeah? So I will ask you first of all, why we say it's a cadential deviation? Very simple question. Why is a cadential? Why do we call it cadential deviation?
Why do we use it?
No, why we call them like that? Why these devices are called cadential deviations and not in a different way?
Well, I understand that it's because we're going to get the cadence, but when the cadence is going to appear, then we deviate the phrase. So the cadence is not a result?
Yes. They are cadential deviations. And the concept of deviation in the terms of the architecture, in relation to the architecture of the theme, will produce what? The deviation. The phrase is 8 bars.
An extension.
So exactly. It can help an extension. It can help an extension. You proved in your examples that were very, very, very nicely written, very beautiful, yeah, that they might not. Yeah, you stick to 8 bars as well after the cadential deviation, yeah. So that didn't work as a phrase deviation. It worked as just a cadential deviation. But the cadential deviation naturally, yeah, is used in general, actually most often, yeah, to extend the theme, not to leave it as it is. Yeah, it can be left as it is, but yeah, normally it produces an extension. Okay, that's fine. Now, if you have to define for someone very clearly how to spot a deceptive cadence, what are the 3 elements that they need to go to look for in the score?
So first of all, the harmony. You need the harmony of the cadence. So either 2 or 4, then 5. So we have the dominant. And we also need to, it has to go along with the syntax, right? So, am I explaining myself? Wait. Okay, so the elements we need is harmony, the syntax, and then the change after when the cadence is going to appear, something changes, either the harmonic rhythm or the rhythm of the melody, or.
Okay, so syntax change. I'm going to help you a bit structuring it. So, very good with the harmony, clear, yeah. When you talk about syntax, there is a term that you can't forget with deceptive cadence and evaded cadences: grouping. So how does it group the deceptive cadence?
I'm not sure what you're asking.
Georgios? We can't hear you, Georgios. Backwards. That's the main difference. It groups backwards, meaning that the goal, the main difference, because this is a characteristic, so it's the most important thing with the deceptive cadence, is that the goal is achieved. So you achieve a goal, you resolve syntactically, yeah, in the 6th, yeah. So it's deceptive harmonically, but not syntactically. Syntactically, it finishes, yeah. It's just You find yourself satisfied partially. Yeah, is different to the evaded cadence. Evaded cadence doesn't finish syntactically. Yeah, and what happens on the arrival event groups forward. So it's basically about the next, the next element. No, it's not about the past element. In the deceptive cadence, the element that syntactically deploys on the arrival chord belongs to the ongoing phrase. Yeah, this is very important. Yeah, very, very important. Now, Anna, which chords can be used as arrival events of the deceptive cadence?
We
Most
can use
popular, less popular, very rare.
Okay, I think the most popular was either the 6 or the 5 because it has a.
No, the 6, yes. The 6, yes. And then,
The
if
six-
it's not the 6,
If not the
is the
6,
most popular one.
and then the 4th, no?
No, we haven't seen an example with the 4th. Laura, do you remember that or not? But I don't remember if you started with us on Deceptive Cadence or you showing later.
I started on evaded cadences, but I looked at what they called, like the videos.
Yes.
Isn't it 6, 1 in first inversion,
Yes.
and then a 3?
That's it. Yes, it's exactly that. Thank you, Laura. Very good. Very good, actually. Yes. Is the tonic in first inversion as the second most common happening, on the arrival chord. Then any other chord, so I'm not going to ask you to show all the other exceptions. The third case would be exceptions. But the ones you should remember is the 6 and the tonic in first inversion. They are fairly common, particularly the 6. To have a deceptive cadence, and not a deceptive resolution, to be in front of a deceptive cadence and not a deceptive resolution, what should you find in the score? Georgios.
The syntax, the moment that we would expect the normal cadence, 7th, 8th bar.
Yes. And what should happen after the deceptive cadence?
The real authentic cadence. But we could have that with the deceptive resolution.
As well, but it would be an exception. If you have you cannot have a deceptive cadence if you don't have a perfect authentic cadence happening later.
Yes, but
That's it.
you will definitely have an authentic cadence if you have deceptive resolution.
Indeed.
So it's not indicating anything, the authentic cadence. The syntax is...
It's true. But it's a must as well. You need a perfect authentic cadence.
Not for separating from deceptive resolution.
No. Yeah, it's right. It's true. We could say that. Let me think. Let me just give it another turn.
We could have a half cadence after deceptive resolution. Now I'm thinking about it. But it doesn't matter.
Yes. You could have, yes. Yeah, the perfect authentic cadence actually does influence the concept of deceptive cadence. In terms of that, they are attached to each other. Without the perfect authentic cadence later happening, you couldn't have a deceptive cadence on its own in common practice.
But yes.
Okay, let me just, I will find an example of something that is an occurrence of a deceptive resolution without a perfect authentic cadence.
Half cadence.
That's the moment. And that wouldn't be a deceptive cadence. Yeah. That's fine. Okay. So yes, you need a perfect authentic cadence to have, it's one of the elements that you need to have a deceptive cadence. Okay? Now, what's the difference between a deceptive cadence and a deceptive resolution? What can really make the clearest way to differentiate them? Good.
I will stick with my previous answer, which is the syntax.
The
seventh
syntax. Yeah, but go deeper on that. So the syntax in what sense?
That we expect it to come on the 7th, 8th bar, where the authentic cadence would come. We have a subdominant, dominant played showing the way to a cadence. We have the melody going to a cadence. Everything agrees.
Yes, but
The position to the theme, that's my...
yeah, but the position is true. The position will help defining. But you could be in front of a theme which has an extended continuation, yeah, by means of a sequence on the fragmentation, for example, and then that would make the deceptive resolution to fall later on. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So in that case, what? How you should still be able to define that as a deceptive resolution. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So the deceptive resolution as well is easily discriminated from deceptive cadence because of the interjected material. Yeah. Normally, the deceptive resolution doesn't lead into a function with a critical mass, so it doesn't have enough size. What happens after the deceptive resolution? Yeah, normally the deceptive resolution somehow behaves like an abandoned cadence in terms of that it just naturally blends into, not because it's not a cadence. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have the attitude of a cadence. But what I'm trying to make the similarity with is this very refined, very very polite way, yeah, of just heading into something else within the progression. There is the deceptive resolution in terms of the syntaxis, yeah, doesn't produce any impact in the listener, yeah, in terms of the syntax. The syntax unfolds naturally with the deceptive resolution because there is no intention in producing a cadence. And that's the difference. With the deceptive cadence, there is an intention to produce a cadence. So the composer is trying to be impolite. Yeah, he's trying to be obnoxious. Yeah, and produce discomfort or produce a failure. Yeah, in the expectation of the listener. In the deceptive resolution, he doesn't. Yeah, he just places there a 6 after a 5th, but that's it. Yeah, there is no alignment of elements. Yeah, favoring the resolution. Okay, so when we go on the topic of deceptive cadence, then one of the important things is that we can differentiate for deceptive resolution because it's the main mistake. Yeah, in the analysis, it's very easy to just see 5th and 6th and just label it deceptive cadence. Yeah, no, it's not. Yeah, and also the position in the bar. Yeah, if the 6 doesn't fall necessarily on the first bar, on the first beat of the bar, yeah, take this between, yeah, with certain caution, yeah, but if it doesn't fall on the first beat of the bar, red alarm on, yeah, because possibly you are facing a risk. Why? Because the harmonic rhythm is not reinforcing already the sense of deception, yeah, it seems a passing chord, yeah. In common practice, we're talking about common practice. So when you do the exercises as well, try to do it not on feminine ending, meaning that this is something that's in the exercise. You tend to finish it on feminine ending, which is great, yeah. But for this task, yeah, it's not doesn't make you insist on what you really need to learn, yeah. Well, then. Deceptive cadences. If you have to compare it with evaded cadences, yeah, which one is stronger in terms of the musical impacts? Georg?
It is
Evaded.
The evaded. Why?
More sudden.
It's more exactly because
And
when you analyze the deceptive cadence, which elements are unaccomplished or are unattained or are unresolved? The harmony mainly. The harmony. So the harmony reaches a goal, right? But it's not the right goal, but reaches a goal still. And the syntax, well, the syntax actually finishes there. So then it's is non-resolving, right? But in comparison to evaded cadence, in which the syntax doesn't resolve, the harmony does not resolve, the event therefore groups forward, the non-resolving elements are much more in the evaded cadence. So it's not just a feeling, yeah? It's technically achieved, that feeling, yeah? Because we are piling up, yeah, more discomfort in several dimensions of the music. Harmony, syntax, and therefore grouping, yeah? That's
the melody has a big leap often.
And it has a big leap, exactly. So we break the melodic line as well. So harmony, melody, yeah, and therefore syntax, whole syntax as well, yeah. So high impact element is the evaded cadence, yeah. And even when the harmony is not, the harmony could be achieved or not, yeah. So they are within the frame of the evaded cadences. We have different gradings of impact, you know. If we finish in the tonic in the evaded cadence, it will be less impactful than if we finish probably in another chord, yeah, which doesn't necessarily follow the progression, yeah. Remember that in the evaded cadence you could use any chord, yeah. When we analyzed it, we analyzed the case of the tonic because it's the most confusing one, yeah, for you when you analyze. If you see the tonic, you will tend to not label it as an evaded cadence, but it is. Yeah, so that's why we went so much into that. But it could be anything else. It could be a Napoleon second. It could be anything. Yeah, more effective. No? Effective. So, can deceptive cadences be changed? Anna?
Yes.
Yes. Good. Yes.
Yes. Sorry.
Good. No, that's fine. That's fine. Anna, how and when?
When you're reaching the desired chord, you can have either new material or old material from the older thematic.
Okay, but how do you?
Is this how they can be?
No, change, not changed. Change. Encadenado. ¿Cómo podés encadenar ¿cómo podés encadenar las deceptive cadences?
Through either texture or dynamics or pattern. Is that what you mean?
No, I was referring to something simpler. It is.
I don't recall.
You don't recall.
What it is.
Okay, Laura, maybe.
Is it by syntax?
Yeah, I mean, in which situation, yeah, you will see a succession of deceptive cadences? Most commonly. Let me help you. In a continuation, I will give you three, like a multiple choice, okay? So, in a continuation or in a closing section?
I don't think the question is very clear.
It's not clear, isn't it? Is it? No.
I don't think the chained word is very clear.
The chains. Yeah, maybe the repetition, we would say, no? Okay. So when can you see the deceptive cadences repeated? One after the other.
In a continuation.
I will tell you, in a closing section, yeah? For example, when you, closing section. It's in the continuation, actually, because it happens in the continuation function, right? So it's correct, yeah? So, after the continuation, we have a closing section, yeah? And then in the closing section, you could have something like, for example, let me see. Yes, for example, let me see the chords. Yeah, this is the sixth. Yeah. Result. Yeah. So it's easy to repeat them, basically. Yeah. Yeah. And you could do it indefinitely. Yeah. And you could even change a bit the melodic line and repeat it even more. Yeah, it's easy. Yeah. So yes, they can be chained. They can be chained. When I say chained, it's because I'm thinking about a chain. Yeah, they can be just indefinitely chained. So in the closing section, yeah, and normally they are chained by means of repeating. Yeah, the same material, you just repeat. Yeah, change it slightly, but you just repeat. Then let me see if I can ask you something else. Well, I would like to just clear up that before going to Deceptive Cadences. So, three elements, yeah? So, grouping, certain harmonic progression, yeah? Which involves two most popular chords, 6 and tonic inverse inversion, yeah? And the presence of a perfect authentic cadence later, yeah? One of the ways to also differentiate deceptive cadence from deceptive resolution is if you have the perfect authentic cadence and you have something resembling a deceptive cadence after the perfect authentic cadence, most probably it will be a deceptive resolution. Yeah, it will be like in a codetta. Yeah, I can show you the example as well. Yes, like a succession of deceptive cadences after, because the deceptive cadence needs to be completed at some point. If it's completed before, it's just color. It's color on a codetta. Yeah, but let me show you the same example again, which is very good actually. Example by Kaplan. Yeah, here it is. So let me see if I can play it for you. Yeah, and then I have to. I will just 1 second. I will make you listen to it because it's a string quartet and I will have to transfer it to piano. It's too much. So let me just show you the string quartet. So it is example 522. Yeah, I want to just reduce the topic so you can have it clear in your minds. So we go for it. Okay, so this trio, we go again. 1 second, share with sound. And we go again. So perfect authentic cadence. Yes, Georgios.
I don't see. But
you don't see. Okay. That's it. So perfect authentic cadence achieved. Yeah, on the fashion of a replica. Yeah, like the earthquake that has like something else, but it's not postponing the resolution of the theme. The resolution was already there. Careful, because this is also very confusing. Yeah, because this one, for example, has mass. Yeah, it's the same size as the element before. So why we label it deceptive resolution? Just because it was already resolved. Okay? also it's very confusing because it has again a cadence afterwards. Yeah. But the first time that the perfect authentic cadence was properly presented, we don't have the rest of the piece before in this example. Yeah. But it was here. Yeah. So that's why. Yeah, this is a deceptive resolution, another deceptive cadence. Okay. Good. So, right. Let's see if we can move into evaded cadences. So, deceptive resolution, I will make you say it, each one of you. So, Georgios, 3 elements for the deceptive resolution, please.
Deceptive resolution.
Deceptive cadence, sorry, deceptive cadence.
Grouping backwards the perfect authentic cadence after harmony?
Yes, and go latains. Yeah, go latains. Or harmony. Yeah.
Ah.
Harmony will be harmony. Yeah. So,
6.
Anna. Yes, the 3 elements, please.
Harmony, texture, I'm not sure if dynamics, but what I have written down from the last lesson is that the element that we can find is a register also, but I'm not sure.
Okay, so we do
Maybe.
grouping, harmony, yeah, and the grouping, which relates to syntax, harmony, which relates to harmony, yeah, and the presence of the perfect authentic cadence later after the occurrence of the deceptive cadence. So Iris, do you remember the 3?
Yes. So the grouping backwards, which is that's the syntax. Then the harmony progressions going to the resolution, which is the
6 orthonic first inversion. Yeah.
Yes. And the perfect authentic tonic, the perfect authentic cadence after
Exactly.
the
Yes. So I think Laura already knows it. So
I got it.
the topic is very extensive, yeah, but at least you should keep on a daily basis. You should pull out these 3 elements, yeah. They will help you a lot. Then, if you have a confusion when you are doing a deep analysis, you can go back to the bibliography and find more detail. But with this, you should be safe, yeah, in the ongoing analysis of a piece. Okay, at least these 3 things. Okay, right. Good. So we go to evaded cadence.
Well, I'm sorry, I have a question. Do you mind repeating those 3 elements one last time? Because I don't know why.
Yes. So Laura, can you repeat them for Anna?
Yeah, so it's the grouping, which is basically the syntax. And then it's the harmony, so it's the progressions leading up towards the deceptive cadence, and then obviously it lands on either the 6 or the tonic in first inversion. And then the last one is the perfect cadence, because after the deceptive cadence, and then you've done like your little bit of music after, it has to end on a perfect cadence afterwards at the end.
That's clear.
Thank you.
Very good. Excellent. Okay, so now we review evaded. Evaded cadence. Which one you find more difficult to understand? Deceptive or evaded?
Evaded.
Evaded.
Yeah, I know that the difference is that the evaded has a recycled material. It brings back the material from before.
Yes.
That's how I would differentiate them, but I'm pretty sure I'm missing more elements to...
It's truly confusing when we see it in the score. We can really, one thing is when I feed you the examples and you feel safe because I'm telling you what they are. But if you find them in the score, they will make you stumble. You will see. Yeah, when we go on analysis. So, okay. Just raise your hands. What is an evaded cadence? Definition, please. Georgios.
I'm looking it up, thinking. The complete avoidance of a resolution of the cadence, going to the cadence, to the perfect cadence, and the complete disappointment using any other chord, and I continue. That's basically it.
Yeah, we are in this stage. We need to make it as simple as possible. Yeah, so very clear. So again, the technique of the three elements will work. Yeah. Harmony. It fails to reach its goal. Very defining. The evaded cadence fails to reach the harmonic goal, which is as opposed, as possible to the deceptive cadence. Then the events in place of the final tonic, or I like to say more the arrival chord because it might not be a final tonic. It's what? It groups forward.
Yes.
Yeah? And normally, or in most of the cases, what happens after is a repetition of something that happened before. This is, take it with caution, because it might not be. But
the grouping with what happened before really confuses me, because how much does it group? That's what
it groups forward, not what happened before. It groups what with the following phrase: the evaded cadence.
Yes, but the groups forward. Yes, sorry, but the elements are taken from before.
Yes.
That's but I understand. But how much?
Yes, well.
Which
it's about
element?
common practice. Yeah. It's about, they shouldn't. I mean, no. They don't necessarily have to. But in 95% of the cases, they do. Yeah. So then it will be very defining for you as analysts to see this. If you are analyzing a piece, you see that the syntax kind of doesn't add up, right? And you immediately have in place of something that happened before. It's actually interesting to start thinking about an evaded cadence because of that. That doesn't mean that if you don't have that, you are not going to be in face of an evaded cadence. That is what you're pointing out. It's true, the exception can be there. You might not have something from before and still be in front of an evaded cadence. Yeah. But if you are seeing something from before, indeed, you have high probabilities of actually being in front of an evaded cadence.
I understand it. It doesn't sound reasonable to me. Like, why do you have to use something from before?
It's because of common practice. It just happens like that when you analyze Haydn, Mozart, and Beethoven.
The rest of them I understand. They make sense. This one sounds like just because we do that. But okay, I'll take it. I have to see it. I have to see it to understand. I have to see examples. I have to see more examples. Sorry.
More examples. But I will explain it to you now, anyway.
Okay.
So, if you want to postpone the syntax resolution of a phrase, if you want to postpone it, you have to postpone it interjecting an element that is already strong in the mind of the listener. Okay? That has an entity that is understood and that can have the power of deviate the attention without sounding random. Okay? In music, the only element that could have that power is something that was exposed before. And the closest to the point you want to do it, the better. Yeah, because listeners are not professional musicians, so they will not remember from the beginning of the piece. Yeah, they will remember what is happening. So if you want to stop the flow and play something there that is coherent, the best way you can do it is to just repeat something immediately that happened before, because it was presented properly, it was prepared, it was professionally incorporated in the piece. So it's already resolved, that element. You just place it again. It's not a fracture. It's not a fracture in the speech.
You have to break the sound, but it must not sound random.
Yes.
Okay.
It doesn't distort the consistency of the piece.
Although it disrupts it, doesn't distort it. So, yes. I see. Okay.
Yeah? Just because of it has a gestaltic foundation. Yeah, it's the gestalt. Yeah, if you are familiar with the element, yes, it will stop the flow, but it's part of the piece. It's not that the piece is broken up. Yeah, it's like scratched. Yeah, if it was, no, it's just have something from before that you already understand why it's there. Yeah, there is a lot of meta content in that gesture. Yeah, meta understanding, because when you present it before that element, yeah, when it was naturally flowing, not interjected like in the Vedic case, would naturally happen. Yeah, a lot of elements favored it's happening and justified its existence. Yeah, so then that element is strong. Just put there whatever. You have to be very masterful when you do it, because if you put whatever, because that whatever you put there, it could sound rough. Yeah, that's the reason. It has a logic behind it. It's not that just it was common practice as like a convention. If you want to do anybody can do that just because. Yeah.
Makes sense now. Thank you. Now remember.
Good. So, and I agree with you, Georgios. If you don't understand something, it's very hard to remember it. Yeah. Yes. It happens when here in Spain when you have to take the driving license. Because you have to learn things that don't make sense. You just have to learn them. Yeah, and then it's like that. Yeah. For example, I will tell you something horrible. Yeah, just to make a bit of a trivia. You have to remember that you need to have a fire extinguisher for something that you attach to the car, but not for the car. I am still trying to understand why. So if you attach, we call it remolque. I don't know how to say remolque, but you know when you have a car and you attach something else to carry more things? Well, that device that you attach, in order to attach, you need to have a fire extinguisher. But you don't have to have it for your car.
I see.
I can't understand why, but well. Anyway, so well, let's come back to our topic. Then, I think we got there. We tied up 3 very important elements that really define the topic. Yeah? So, we go again. Yeah? So, harmony. Harmony, what happens with the harmony?
Oh, the harmony fails to reach the goal, right?
Yes.
So it doesn't get to its goal.
I want to clear that phrase, yeah, as well. It's true, is that it's not that the syntax, the harmony reaches apparently a goal, which is the tonic, yeah? But the harmony doesn't reach its goal. Why? Because the syntax doesn't enhance the harmony. Yeah? Because if you take off the melody and you just see the Roman numerals below the line, it will reach the goal, tonic, in the end. But syntax doesn't favor it. Yeah. So that's why we say it in that way. Yeah. It's a bit confusing, but yeah.
Yeah, I had in my notes like harmony completes, but syntax doesn't.
Maybe.
I like that more, Iris. I like that more for you to remember. Okay. What do you think?
Maybe complete.
Maybe completes. Maybe completes, but yeah. It's just because of the exposition that Kaplan did. Kaplan made so much effort on explaining the exception, not the exception, but the common occurrence with the tonic, that you students might come out from this with the conclusion that you will only have an evaded cadence if you have a tonic at the end. Yeah, and it's not true. Yeah, at all. It's not an exception that you don't have the tonic. Actually, very commonly you will not have a tonic. Yeah, so
tonic extension.
Yeah.
Inverted, not the root position tonic.
Exactly. The most common case is the inverted tonic, actually, and not the one that I showed you in the explanation. So, okay, it's just a strategy that did not kind of adapt in the best way. So, I want to clear up a couple of things. Okay. Now I will ask you for something that I explained as an exception, doesn't make sense on its own, but when you learn abandoned cadence, yeah, abandoned cadence, it's about the dissolving of the dominant chord. Yeah, we haven't talked about the dominant chord role, and so I will tell you now. In the deceptive cadence, the dominant chord is strong. Yeah, it's dominant 7. Yeah, or dominant, but it's in root position. Yeah, in the evaded cadence as well. Yeah, in most of the cases, it's in root position. Yeah, so in these two cadential deviations, we didn't affect dominant chord. Yeah, we rely on the dominant chord. Okay? The abandoned cadence is about the dominant chord for the first time. Yeah? It's about degrading the dominant chord. Okay? But it's about actually syntactically and harmonically degrading the dominant chord. And with this I say that you might have a dominant chord that changes the position, yeah, and still have an evaded cadence. We saw an example for that kind of exception in the evaded cadence presentation.
And for deceptive.
And even for deceptive as well. Yeah, if it's a coloring of the dominant chord, if it's a deployment of the dominant chord, that will normally have a parabolic deployment in terms of the melodic line of the bass or the bass line. Yeah, it will be parabolic. It will start with a bass that then will unfold like this and will land on the tonic. Yeah, that's why it's true that if you place the bars there, no, you will seem that you're changing the position. Yeah, but hypermetrically, so going outside from the bar, you still see that the bassest note, no, the how say in English, the lowest note, yeah, is still the same. Yeah, you didn't change the position by changing it with the lowest note. So that's what helps. Yeah, the identification. Yeah, you had a lot of things going on, but actually the lowest note is still the same. And if you check the focal points of the bass line, they will make sense by keeping it as it was, not by relabeling in the second bar. Understand what I mean? A bit extravagant explanation, but I think it makes sense. So this will be the core of my presentation of the abandoned cadence next week. Yeah, the dominant chord. Yeah, but in this, the evaded cadence and the deceptive cadence, dominant chord is powerful. Yeah, it's what really fixes the tendency and the intention. Yeah. Grouping. Can someone explain the grouping in the evaded cadence nicely? Georgios.
Forward.
Yeah. So, like, can you do an example in the piano?
Yes. I guess.
Let's see. It's easy.
Yes, we have a theory, not Scaramucci. No.
No Scaramucci?
No, I did Scaramucci at the beginning, she said, because we needed to clear up something with Georgios.
Yes.
So, okay. Okay, do the example again, can you? So I can do it. Okay, very good, excellent, good example. So, it's all about the syntax, okay? And I want you to remember something by heart, which are which elements that can be changed in the syntax. Remember, we spot them all, yeah? So at least 5, which are, Anna.
That I'm sure I know. We can change the texture.
Good.
The dynamics.
Yes.
Accompaniment pattern.
Yes.
And the melody and the register.
Yes, that's the confusion you got. You got confused with the deceptive cadence. That's for the evaded cadence. Okay.
Now it makes sense.
Okay.
I don't know the other.
Excellent. Okay. Okay. So, Laura, if you have from the 3 elements of music that interact, no, in the evaded cadence, so the harmony, harmony and syntax. Which one is more important in the evaded cadence?
Is it the syntax?
It is, exactly. It is. The harmony itself is not going to show you the evaded cadence. If you take off the music out, the melody on top of the harmony or the notes, and you just see the Roman numerals, you might commit a mistake. Okay, it might look as a perfect authenticator to you. Okay. Okay. Well, now something more for the composers and as well for the analyst as well. So when and why will the evaded cadence be used? In what situation formally? No, it will be used more, the evaded cadence. It's famous to be used when? For what?
The sections also.
Then?
In the closing sections as well, because it is restating.
Let me help you a bit more in the what I want you to answer to me. In the sonata form, for example, where are you going to use evaded cadences the most?
Does it help you reach the development?
Yes. And what is immediately before the development? Which function?
The exposition.
Subordinate theme. Yes. The section is the exposition, yeah? And within the exposition, next to the development, just before the development, within the exposition, you show the subordinate theme, yeah? So in subordinate themes is when you will mostly see the evaded cadences. Yes? Why? Okay, I will help you. There are two concepts, okay, that is tight-knit theme and loose theme. Tight-knit, yes, he likes to call them like that. I think it's very clever to call them like that. For example, the main theme is always tight-knit in terms of it tends to be 8 bars. Yeah, it tends to not be very pretentious in its form, so it's clear, so people can understand it, can feel intellectually safe. Yeah, when you expose the main theme of the sonata. Yeah, normally. The subordinate theme has always two functions. No, if it's on the other key, let's call it, on the dominant, no, or on the statement response key, yeah, before the development, for example, it has to be propelling because it has to propel the development, yeah. So then the subordinate theme needs to be less stable, yeah, because it's facing the unstabilization of it's preparing, no, the chaos in the sonata, so we can make place for the development, yeah. And when it's exposed in the tonic, and the end in the recapitulation, yeah, it needs to stop the whole inertia of the sonata, yeah. Everything that happened before needs to be stopped there, so it needs to acquire critical mass. And a very easy way to make it acquire critical mass is by using an evaded cadence, because it's so disruptive, the evaded cadence, that can allow us to host more material, more repetitions, or more a bigger element to stop the musical flow, to make it bigger, yeah. It's like a train, no, that comes from, I don't know, from Bath to London non-stop, yeah, and then it doesn't have brakes, so you need to stop all that without destroying the train. You need a huge spring there, yeah? So then they can do like that and then finish everything. So it needs to have size, yeah, otherwise it won't succeed. Yeah, so that's why the evaded cadence, the most disruptive of the cadential deviations, will be used in both cases, in the subordinate theme and not in the main theme. Yeah? It's not incoherent to find the evaded cadence, the most disruptive of the cadential deviations, okay, in the least stable of both themes. It's not incoherent, yeah? In the same way that when we were exercising, remember the grading of the phrases, of the themes, that we started from period and we ended in the loose, right? And then we had, no? This is the same, no? From the 3 cadential deviations, this one goes more towards loose than tight-knit, yeah?
Wait. But then, which one's the more loose theme?
The more loose theme, which one was the most loose theme?
The sentence.
Yes.
But that one appears in the first theme.
You know, that's true, that's fine. But it can appear in the first theme, but in the second theme, in the subordinate theme, you shouldn't have a period.
You shouldn't have a period.
Shouldn't have a period. Yeah.
Shouldn't have a period. Cool.
Yeah. Again, it's loose. The sentence is loose, but it's not. I mean, it can still be used as a main thing, but still, it's more loose than the period. Yeah. And still, if you have to choose what to use in the subordinate theme, it's clearer that you shouldn't use a period.
Cool. Okay.
Okay. Remember that the sonata is very sophisticated, so you will have, as we say in Spanish, you will have matices. You will have a lot of subtleties, no, when using these forms. Okay. So let me see if I find something else which needs to remark. No, that's fine. That's fine. So we will close there the recap of cadential deviations before landing on the last one. Yeah, I did the recap now because we work on the tonic and now we're going to work on the dominant. Yeah, so they're very different. Yeah, so you separate them in your mind. Yeah, so evaded cadence, deceptive cadence, it's about the gold chord. Yeah, abandoned cadence is about the dominant. Yeah? And we see next week. So we take 5 minutes break and we start with practical. Okay. Yeah, I leave